We're back.
We are back, everyone. Welcome back to the Early Birds podcast. We will be talking tonight about the 8th episode of Survivor Wisconsin's 8th season, Calm versus Chaos. I'm your host, Richie. I'm here with my co-host.
I am the one and only Aleks. Just kidding. I'm one of the two.
I was going to say, let me interject.
Yeah.
I am the other Aleks Steib. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and we also have a very special guest with us tonight, so please welcome Kayla.
Hey guys.
Woo!
Obviously, I think we mentioned before, Kayla was taken out in tonight's episode. We will talk about all of that and more in tonight's episode. So, Kayla, great to have you on. It's going to be a fun episode. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of fun comments and questions tonight.
Oh, yeah. Awesome to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on, girl. We actually do have some pretty good ones. Pretty good comments so far. All right, so without further ado, I think we could probably just go on to talk about Tribal Council from the last episode, right? Because people, I think, may or may not remember that this was kind of just a continuation from last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It was because I kind of mentioned last week that it was kind of like a build-up episode, kind of, because Jamal's vote up was kind of like more like, okay, we need to get him out first, and then we'll try to betray one another. So I kind of alluded to like how it was kind of like this vote up was gonna be like a game-changing vote off, kind of, and it kind of was. But we'll have more into that once we actually reveal the vote. But
Yeah, absolutely. Those damn cliffhangers always get us, and they always leave us waiting, anticipating for more. And, you know, at this stage in the game, when we're down to our third last episode aired tonight, the game does tend to heat up, and there is a lot to talk about this episode. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that Kayla's here to join us. This is going to be a fun time.
Yeah. Kayla, do you have anything you want to add before we start talking about Tribal Council and the episode as a whole? That's the one that started it.
Let's get into it. I'm super excited.
All right. It's great to hear. I love to hear that. All right. So we obviously start off with the reveal that it is a double Tribal Council. Jamil had just gotten taken out. Everyone starts scrambling. Key moments I'll quickly talk about before I pass it on to everyone else to talk a bit about is that we do have Kayla as an iconic moment of her running around looking for idols, jumping up and down on trees. We do have Quentin trying to push forth his plan to try to blindside someone from Vivesse to keep Joe and Kayla around. I really like the moment, Kayla, where you flat out, Tony's trying to talk to you, and you're just like, I'm sorry, Tony, but I have nothing to say to you.
Yeah.
I was calling that the Tony slam, and I was dying at it, like.
yeah, that was very funny.
Yeah, Clinton thought his Sambo had repercussions. I would like to believe that what Tony said has repercussions. As we just saw this episode, so you know. So there's a lot of stuff. No, Dan, I do not hate Tony, but I will pass it on to Aleks, Steib, and Kayla to talk a bit about the sequence of events before the actual next round of voting comes up.
Yeah, Richie might hate Tony, but he doesn't hate his fit though.
Aleks, I swear to God, you see this?
But thank you. But
There was a little extra mustard on that hit.
The build up to this vote off is pretty crazy because you do have Quentin, Vinny, and Nolan kind of trying to flip the vote to go for like Jimmy or Tony, and then you also have Kayla and Joe on the other side just trying to survive. And Kayla just running around and just trying to stay alive in this game. And then you kind of have that middle section with Jimmy and Sam in the middle, kind of seeing if they want to flip to one side or another. Because after Jimmy has his right hand man, Tony. Never mind. After all like Jimmy and Sam are kind of right now in the middle, and they're playing a decent good game right now as well. But like this vote off is going to be a game changer, and it'll kind of show where lines are drawn and how the game's going to go. I'll move forward after this vote off for sure.
Absolutely. The double tribal councils are always chaotic, and they don't leave you with much time to strategize. Everybody was running around like mad except for Sam. You know, that's certainly an advantageous spot to be in, winning that last challenge, and then it turns out, oh, I'm safe for 2 rounds. That's swell. So it was very fun to see. There was a lot of funny content, but there was also a lot of good strategizing going on of people in the comfortable majority of VVC. Some of them are finally looking to start breaking that group up and trying to make moves on their own. So yeah, I was liking this episode a lot.
100%. You guys chose the best times to have the back-to-back tribals. I feel like you definitely knew when to push buttons and make it more chaotic. And during that time, I was trying to press as many buttons as I can, just trying to see what sticks. And that's where you saw in that one bit where I'm like, I love you, Tony. I have nothing to say to you. Like in those times when you have back-to-back tribals, you have to figure out. Say it again.
The Tony slam.
I love Tony. I love that man's freckles. He definitely made enemies in game. Oh, I get bonked when I get Tony slam. I'll stay away from him then.
That bonk was for Tony.
Oh, got it. Great. Your favorite player. All right.
Yep.
So, yeah, I tried. I forgot who I pulled aside that time. I think it was Jimmy. That's like one of the only times where I actually pulled aside Jimmy and Sam, because I think that I really banked on unspoken things with Jimmy and Sam. But that was the one time where I'm like, guys, just tell it to me straight up. You'll see a lot in my gameplay where I literally pull the people and be like, what are you voting, yes or no? Because I can't with the in between the line stuff. So we'll have to see if that's a good strat or not. But well, I'll get your guys' takes on that later. But that's how I felt with the back-to-back tribal.
Yeah, and obviously double tribal councils are a pretty major thing. Usually they only happen once. I don't think I mentioned this before in our last live stream we did, where this is actually the first season where I believe we've done 2 double tribals in a single season. And there was a potential we could have had a third one had the Outcasts gotten first in the Outcast challenge, which kind of disappointed it didn't happen, only because I think 3 double tribals would have been very fun as like a little statistic, but 2 double tribals. Right, exactly. Very chaotic. 2 double tribals alone in the season is very fun. Shakes up the meta a bit. It's very fun.
It's crazy that in the first double tribal, the VVC wanted to protect Linda completely by random, and that's who we literally decided to vote out. So that was just flawless lineup. The fact that
I don't know if you saw the live stream we did on that episode, but it was so funny because I remember I was texting Alex, so like Linda, and he's like, Linda? And I'm like, yeah, Linda. And then you were just like, I remember Alex, when we came back, you were like telling me everything, and it was just, I was dying.
The shot in our group chat, they have the shot of when they announced that VVC was going to protect Linda. My face was like, and then Jamil's face was like, and we're all trying to look at each other like, guys, what do we do? So, very fun.
That's funny. I'm surprised we don't have Ben talking about Queen Linda in this chat tonight.
We'll just wait, maybe.
He's on clock.
We summon him. No, wait, it's like Beetlejuice. Say Ben's name 3 times, and then he'll come in. Ben.
Yeah, right.
Now we wait. No, jokes aside. Anything else we want to talk about the content before the second round of voting for this double tribal, before we actually, get into it?
Was a lot of talk about Nolan playing his extra vote in this one, and it was mainly just because they didn't know if they had the votes to blindside or not. But good job on Nolan for holding his holding that advantage until later, because it's a pretty big hold. And we've also seen it with Kayla holding her idol for how long? That
I don't know.
But it's really just good gameplay on Nolan's part for not playing it this round.
Right.
That's really it, though.
Yeah, and I do kind of believe there was a lot of, because I do remember he was very back and forth with that. I think it was, I think it was even revealed after this tribal council that they were kind of considering like who they were going to talk about for the vote for Vivesses, the former Vivesses. We're going to vote for, and like who they weren't going to tell about. And I kind of believe it came down to basically whatever Quentin, Nolan, and Vince wanted to do. So,
yeah, but like this whole vote was led by Quentin, and he did a very good job with it as well, kind of at the right time. But yeah, we'll get into that after we kind of reveal the whole vote and stuff like that. But yeah, props to Quentin. We've not talked about him enough, but props to him for that.
all right. Steib, Kaylee, got anything you want to add before we talk about the tribal council and who got voted out?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I think this is going to be a pretty impactful tribal council to establish how the game continues to develop. It was pretty. It was pretty good seeing Kayla and Joe talking for a little bit, talking about like, oh, do you think you're going to go now? Do you think you're going to go next round? You know, like what's going to happen here? And like even when they were asking Vivese, some of them were like, I don't know. Like I'm still figuring that out, and it's like, man, somebody's got to make the move, and I'm excited that we got to see a move in the results of this tribal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, I interpreted that ambiguity that I was leaving, and so every single round post merge, I was like, all right, I'm leaving unless I find an idol. And also these are my first impressions of Yellow because we didn't really get to mingle before, and also Yellow was sitting pretty because Pink kept on losing everything. So I think this is even Yellow's first impression of their own gameplay. So I just wanted to put that in there. Of they're literally strategizing on the fly. And then that's also Joe's and I's first impressions of them kind of post-merge of what their more strategic gameplay is. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Right, because I would feel like this is the moment they really started to turn on each other since the Richard vote all the way back in like the third episode. Because I mean, and I definitely thought it was a very interesting turn of events. But
yeah.
Do we got anything else you want to say? Do we want to get into the
I think we just get to tribal. Yeah, let's go to tribal.
So, tribal council, not much really happens. It's kind of just a continuation of what was going on before. I kind of feel like it's just kind of everyone giving the same stuff, just, you know, to like, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, what are you going to do in that situation? You're going to, like, tell them what your move is? No.
Yeah.
Anything we want to say before we get into the vote reveal?
No, there was just a lot of back and forth really going on, you know, whispering at tribal with Nolan and Vincent and a lot of those people on that left side, just kind of really nailing it home that do we have the numbers and do we have the votes to make this blind set happen really? Because it was almost a live tribal, almost it looked like, but like there was a lot of just small talking, whispering going on, while you know, Devin was, you know, talking with one player each time, so not a lot of like, you know, really big conversations going on. But yeah, just a lot of whispering we saw. But if Richie or if you know Steib has anything else to say,
yeah, not too much. I mean, at this point in the game, Vivese is trying their best to keep their united numbers and to keep themselves together and to keep pushing forward and to try and get that strong six. And it was interesting seeing Jimmy talk at the tribal where he said, yeah, I'm probably going to end up voting for a pink tribe mate this time. And it's unfortunate because I don't want to be the bad guy. So it is interesting to see these actions and to see people not necessarily fully wanting to make them, but wanting to make them to progress further in the game. So yeah, I guess we'll see how the jury feels when the final day comes.
Yeah. I loved the whispering of the flips at this point. Wish somebody came up to me. I wish somebody was like, and this is what we're thinking. In a couple episodes before, I think you see me saying like, oh, I'm working with some yellows. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I truly wasn't working with anybody, like at all. And I was trying to stir the pot. Had somebody even had an inkling of like, this is what we need to do, I probably would have been all for that. But yeah, at this point, just for my clarification too, of me remembering, what's on the board that we know people had. Did we know that Nolan had the double vote yet?
Yeah, I think the entire Vivace tribe knew because I think Nolan told them.
Yes. And then everybody knew that Sam had the idol as well on that side.
Except for Tony, I think. I think he may have been the only one who didn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Who didn't know. Like, I mean, like, everyone kind of told everyone about everything. It was like the new era of Survivor where you have to tell everyone everything because God forbid you have a secret. But
I think it's because the arena is so small that everybody just sees everything. And also I can't keep the secret.
Yeah, I think Nolan, like almost everybody knew Nolan had the extra vote and then Sam had the idol. And that's really about it for like publicly known stuff until
until one round later. ...
Basically, right. But yeah, we'll get there as well. But yeah, I think
we should reveal.
Yeah.
So without further ado, oh wait, was someone gonna? Okay, so I thought I heard someone.
I'm gonna do it. I'm waiting for you.
Drum roll.
All right, so 10 person voted out of the game. Third member of our jury, by a vote of 4-2 to 2 negated with an idol by Kayla. Tony is voted out. Third juror.
2-turn Tony.
Got 2 turns.
Where did that even come from? He turned himself out of the game. He did a U-turn right out of the game, but he didn't really turn.
He turned on the hearts of Filemu when he said, "Go try this with somebody else."
Okay, and did I not call that was going to burn his game?
Absolutely. Pink was some petty B words. Like, we literally, Jamil turns to me, he's like,
Jamil,
and I'm like, it's not going to slide. And it was unspoken that we were going to gun for Tony after that because we literally were so sweet and calm as the Pink team. We're like, who's not a better spokesperson than Tony?
Yeah, let's look at this comment by Nick quickly.
Kayla, how confident were you that the vote was going to be Tony? Did you think you were going home? Nick, I thought I was going home every single round post-merge. It was my glimmer of hope that Tony got home because I'm like, wow, this is a small signifier that somebody will want to work with me and that they're finally turning on themselves. Because Tony, to me, obviously pledged allegiance that he was a yellow vote. So I'm like, if they're going to discard such a true loyal yellow vote, that means that somebody either like A, wants to use me as a shield, more power to them, or like would want to work with me and Joe, which honestly, they used Jake and then let him go. And I was like, I don't want that as a repeat for Pink. But I tried positioning myself to make bigger moves. That's why I gunned so hard to try and get like Quentin out, which you're going to see in a little bit. And you're going to see how that worked out.
I love to hear that. Yeah, Tony getting voted off. I don't think he really expected it was going to happen. I kind of feel like he was definitely blindsided by it, which, fair enough. But it's also kind of by him putting out so much, I don't want to say ill will, because on one hand, it's like when we were talking about Julie at the beginning of the game, where honesty can sometimes be a very good thing. But to be bluntly honest in the way that Tony was, it burned so many people to the point where he really didn't have many people willing to like want to keep him around. So I mean, yeah, I don't know.
He played a loyal game. It was really straightforward. I think it makes for a predictable player. It's not the most fun gameplay to watch. I don't know what it would have taken to get Tony on our side. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if he had any strat like that coming in. So.
Yeah. I do think Jimmy was a lot more blindsided because Jimmy felt just like so safe in that tribe as well. And now it's like, oh shit, my left-hand man just got voted out. What do I do now?
Well, Sam definitely felt blindsided after the vote. Or at least when we saw the episode.
Sam took it more on the, more than Jimmy did. It looked like in confessionals, and even like during the scramble period. But yeah, like Tony getting voted out here is a huge momentum change in the season.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I think it definitely kind
of see where lines are drawn now, and how moving forward is not just let's say strong type situation here.
Right, and the big thing that stood out for me was the fact that after Tony's vote off, it kind of feels like anyone could win. it kind of just gives that vibe that like anyone left could actually win the game, which is a very rare occurrence in a lot of seasons we've had. As a lot of past seasons, it's a very clear like 2 to 3 front runners and like maybe a couple like second. I don't want to say like second-rate people who could possibly win, you know, but it's like, I mean, okay, no one get me started on 48. I hated Survivor 48, so don't even get me started on that. Sorry. You guys say something now, and then we'll last thoughts about Tony's vote off, and then we'll move on to the next round.
Yeah. For the sake of the game and for the sake of the audience, I'm absolutely thrilled by this move to get somebody from Vivese out, period. It is absolutely, you know, when you're in the good situation and you get to pagong out the other tribe, like for a while, like what Vivese was doing to Filemu. It's good to be on the right side of that, and it certainly sucks to be on the back side of that. And it's not the most thrilling game for the audience either. So I think Quentin, Nolan, Vincent making the moves to take out Tony, I think it was smart for their game. As we saw with Jimmy, he was blindsided. That's another big ally for him gone. And it opens up the game a lot, like y'all said. Possibly with the right moves and with the right circumstances, whoever gets to the end could have a very good case of going all the way.
All right, we did pop this up now. We'll answer this question quickly, and then we'll save any other questions that come up for the question segment we'll have towards the end. This question we're just going to quickly do it now. Watching back, Kayla, what was your thoughts on how Jimmy wanted to use your idol and yourself this round to keep your cover with you? Were you aware of the plan?
All right. So are we talking about when Jimmy's advising me when to use my idol when we're literally sitting on the bench during tribal, or Jimmy telling me like, hey, you need to use your idol. Everybody knows you have it. It's making a huge target on your back.
Both. I guess say both now. I'm actually, I want to hear what you have to say now, girl.
I forgot during which round it was, but Jimmy was like, Kayla, everybody knows you have your idol. You have to use it. And I was like, Jimmy, I've been there, done that. Every time I got an idol, Jamil was like, you have your idol, you got to use it. Everybody knows you have it. It's a big target. So initially I was like, I don't know if by this point Jimmy had scorned me with some like semi-true information, like because they already milked my first idol. They already got me to use my first idol. And I was already like, why did I use that? Jimmy gave me this information. I trusted him. And now all of a sudden, like I'm still here. So then I was weary every time after that where Jimmy was giving me advice on like what to do that round. And the great thing about both Jimmy and I is that we're both working with information in isolation, and we're both telling each other what we want the other person to do with the information that only we had. So had Jimmy said like, we need to flush your idol, like, don't worry, you're safe, or I think he had presented it to me like, you're going to go. I tried to get your attention during the tribal. You might have. I just was bad. Zerdali's saying yes. Who's Zerdali? My bad. So basically, I'm distracted now. Okay, so listen. I didn't want to use the idol prematurely. Jimmy was telling me when I was supposed to use it, and basically I didn't want to. I wanted to hold on to it, but I would have rather been safe than sorry. So I ended up using it, and I was okay. So, guys, I think you're distracted by Zerdali too. I don't know what's happening. So, yeah, Zerdali's here. For those of you watching who don't know who Zerdali is my emotional support friend.
Hello.
I got so far in the game.
Not true. I didn't help in any kind of way. I didn't help.
She actually didn't. She was sworn to not.
Ooh, we'll see about 11.
So yeah, Zerdali is going to win Survivor 11. So that's your future winner.
There we go. Amazing.
All right. So yeah, usually we'll hold off all the other questions until later on. I just wanted to ask that question now since it kind of was relevant and so that it didn't get lost in the chat. So
yeah.
All right.
One more recap to your answer though. So I can tell you about my strat. I decide when I'm going to use the idol when I'm on the bench in tribal. Like that is the ultimate. I'm looking around at people's eyes because gameplay was so fast. I'm just looking at people's eyes on the bench, and I decide right then and there, up till Devin opens his mouth to ask a question if anybody's going to use it, to decide when I'm going to use it. And that just happened every single time. Like I wish it was more strategic, but that was honestly how I decided to use it every single time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. So,
anything else any of us want to say before going to the challenge? Next challenge. All right. So, sorry, let me find the little banner I have for it. So, next challenge we have. Yeah, this was a very interesting challenge, a very fun challenge. I actually definitely liked. Very simple.
I hated that challenge. Was it the bags?
yeah, it might be fun for everybody else.
So, essentially what will happen is that
I got a
everyone
0.
have, was it 1 or 3? Just to make sure. I think it was
Those
3,
three
right?
shots.
Yeah, everyone has like 3 little bags they can toss on a table. Each little table has a little like special shape, and each shape has a number attributed to it.
Mm-hmm.
And each, and that kind of stands for how many points you get. You get 3 shots on a table per round. Whoever has the most points after 3 rounds wins immunity. Very simple challenge. I definitely liked it. I definitely liked it a lot, just because it was simpler. Sometimes simple is good to have. It's good to have a mix of like multi-step challenges and a good balance of that, and like very simple, like just do this. It's, it just has a really good balance to it, and it's kind of like we've still been keeping it fresh with new challenges. So I like this. I played this at a party once too with quarters, actually. Kyle will know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so anything you guys want to say about this challenge before we reveal it? Or?
Yeah, it's a good challenge, really new challenge as well. I do like how Devin's going out more and making new challenges, so we're not reusing challenges from the past. I do find it like it's anybody can win challenge. It doesn't take a lot of strategy or skill. It's just kind of just luck based, and I do like these challenges mixed in with like skill and strategy based ones as well, because it's not always just kind of be endurance or strength. It's this one here is just luck, and if you can throw a bag on the table, really. But yeah, like I do like a healthy mix of challenges, and Devin's doing a great job with that in the past 2 seasons. So keep it up, Devin. But yeah, it was a fun challenge to film and watch. So yeah, I have no complaints, and it was fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, more of the same for me. I think the new ideas that Devin and some of us are able to keep coming up with are really good ideas, and it keeps the game fresh for new competitors and for the old viewers as well. So I thought this challenge was all right. It's certainly mind over matter, really, because it doesn't take much to throw the bag a little too far, and then it just slides right off the back, as some of us experience playing the challenge. No shade, but it was a fun challenge. I liked what Devin came up with the little board there and drew it himself. So yeah, I liked it.
No, this was the perfect challenge because I think at this point it was pouring, and so there needed to be a quick switch up of having something under the shelter. So in theory, it was the perfect challenge.
Oh yeah, the gods really hated that Tony got voted out. It looks like, because it just started downpouring right after that vote off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally.
The shift in like weather this whole season was crazy. Starting off blazing hot, then you get like a really windy, and then
I literally said at the beginning of this beginning of the season, I alluded to this being like the worst season we've had weather-wise.
No.
So I did allude to that in the first recap we did. I didn't say anything about the season except for the fact that this had the roughest weather, and that we've had the worst weather this season that we've ever had. And I definitely liked it for that element. It was very unique with that element alone, because the last time we've had complete weird-ass weather was probably, Aleks, your first season, Summer Solstice. So, I mean, yeah. I liked it. I thought it was really, that was a fun challenge. The rain in the background definitely made it unique. Sorry, what were you going to say?
It also fits the theme as well with the weather.
Mm-hmm. Calm and chaos.
Yeah.
Yep.
I alluded to that as well early on when we were doing the breakdowns. I said chaos will reign, and that was pretty apparent right there. It really fit the ambience and the the intense nature of coming down to these final few castaways.
Guys, I think you're forgetting. It was like 90 degrees, was it? No.
I was about to say
for the majority of the day.
Yeah, majority of it was 90, and then it got windy. It kind of went down in time.
By
and
evening.
then the rain came in and really brought it down.
I think I literally lost at least like 4 to 5 pounds by like sweating the first half of the day alone. I'm not even joking. Like, it was
Yeah,
so
you know
funny.
why? Because Jamil drank all the freaking waters.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I have my own stash. I just drink all of it like really fast in the first half of the game. So
Bro was
like,
a pissing machine.
Goddamn Jamil.
Yeah.
yeah, Jamil was a machine. I don't know how he was able to like, okay, we should have asked this last time. Anyways, anything we want to say about the challenge before we move on to who won it?
It really commanded. I think it's so. I'm gonna do a reveal of who won the challenge, but it really shows who had the mental clarity, because it's not a strength challenge. It's like a fine motor skill challenge of like who had the mental clarity to be precise and calm in order to just be like, whew. And so I think the person who won had a lot of confidence and was sitting pretty, and that's why they had the mental capacity to win it.
Well, then let's reveal the winner.
For
Then.
so long. Someone say the winner, or I will.
All
Richie,
right. And it
The
was
winner
the
Yeah.
pastor of the pastor.
Father James, hallelujah.
Jimmy,
King Father James.
Guys,
Put that king on his head.
Take your hat off. We're talking about Father Pastor Jimmy here.
Ooh, that's a bad hairline.
What do you ever see the Aqua Teen Hunger Force thing where they're like talking about the Bible, and he's like, the Bible, and this is like the Bible on the cover.
Oh my God.
Yeah, shout out to King James on winning that immunity challenge. It could have went either way, and yeah, he was able to throw the bags and get them to land in the right spots and get the most points. Shout out to King James.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, Jimmy winning was
Great time for him as well. Great time to win.
Yeah, it was
Sitting
so solid.
pretty.
Considering Tony just went out, I think that was a very critical win for him.
Yeah. Plus, the challenge was also really close as well with Joe and Sam coming in, coming all runner up at NL. So it is fun because it's really anybody can win this challenge, and it really came down to that last shot for all three of those guys, and then just Kayla.
Yeah. Wow. Aleks throwing shade.
Not shade, just a hard truth. All right. But yeah, so challenge, after the challenge,
Yeah, there
a
was
lot
some
of
fun
scrambling.
stuff. A lot of scrambling.
As we've seen the whole season of Kayla.
Yeah.
We can dive into that a lot because we see her just, take off and go idol hunting because, her name was, been out there, and it was still out there this whole episode as well. And, she goes running around. We see it while people are talking in the background. You just hear her right as it passes the screen as well, like usual. And then I think almost every single frame of like filmers caught you going right through the screen in like that first like 5 minutes. It was funny to watch.
I know there's a specific conversation, Kayla. We were talking about this actually before the episode began, where it's you, Sam, Jimmy, and Joe talking. And then all of a sudden, you two just like, you and Sam are like, okay, let's go. And all of a sudden, you're like jumping into trees. Sam's like trying to climb. He's like jumping out, trying to pull a Kira. Like, I was dying at that. Like, you were like Jamil said earlier in the comment, he said you were on crack. You were like a crackhead.
Oh my God. I just want to point out that I don't think this, I was even mic'd up during this, but at some point people are like, Kayla, where are you finding the idols? And I'm like, guys, I'm climbing trees. I'm like, you don't know this, but Devin actually told everybody to put them as high up as they could in the tree. And I was hoping that some people would climb trees after that, but I don't know.
Low-key like Judd in Guatemala, where he's all like, it's definitely, in the trees. It's not on the ground, you guys. And then they everyone starts looking at the trees like... I do love that there was a confessional by Sam. I did kind of highlight this during the little comments where Sam just goes pops off where he's pissed. He's like, I want revenge. And he's like, the entire time he has his hand like this. And like, the only thing I could think of is that Patrick meme where like he's like the mascara, the lipstick, the nails. He's like,
Yeah.
like I kept thinking that the entire time. And I'm like, Diva Sam, go on.
No,
Like,
literally, Zardali and I were watching the episode, and we see Sam like this, and he's like talking about it. I'm like, okay, Diva. Because that's also the time when Sam was like, I was strategically anxious that entire episode. I was cool as a cucumber. And then every single confessional, you see Sam like, I'm losing my shit, guys. I'm getting and I'm like, yes, Diva, we're the same. So.
Yeah.
no, like, yeah, but I do think
I'll look to like dive into. We do see Vinny, Nolan, and Quentin like apologizing, of course, to Sam and Jimmy about the vote off.
Yeah.
We see Sam kind of paranoid about this vote, and Jimmy and the crew saying we should just drive Sam paranoid and see if we can wash this idol away. And then we also see a couple people trying to flip the vote to Quentin or Sam, and Nolan's kind of running the game right now. He has a good alliance of 4 right now with him, Vincent, Quentin, and am I missing somebody? Well, just that 3. Sorry, that 3. But it's interesting to see how well Nolan's kind of navigating this whole game, because his name's not been thrown out there once yet, and he's just kind of running low and keeping his cool most of the time, even though he's kind of a chaotic, funny guy. And Jimmy's kind of scrambling around, trying to figure out what happened, and he's safe, but he keeps forgetting that he's safe, and he keeps thinking, I think my name's getting thrown out there, even though like he has the necklace on. That was hilarious. But yeah, there's also some other takeaways further down, but like I'll let Smell speak.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to talk about here in this conversation and strategizing phase before this pivotal tribal. And as we see, the chaos is it's putting a lot of fear into everybody's minds, thinking, okay, well, if the last double tribal, if the second half of that didn't go how I thought it would, maybe I could be the next one out the door. Maybe I could be the next one on the jury. And what Kayla was doing, it was very entertaining. It's certainly something I would be doing myself if I was towards the bottom of the remaining tribe. I would certainly be trying my hardest to find whatever advantage I could. And yeah, we saw a lot of different advantages being found in this phase too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Was this when I approached Sam and I said, Sam, I didn't even know who Sam was at that point when I approached him. I literally didn't know his name. I didn't even know Nolan's name. I said that. Remember, I was like, they're going to vote out Sam. And Sam's like, I'm Sam. And I'm like, well, you better pack your bags.
That was hilarious.
And then I was like,
Nolan Nelson.
Well, Nolan deserves that because he knew nobody's name. Like, who's Crystal at that point? So,
fair enough.
Yeah. So I was just, trying to stir the pot. Yeah. But I think that kind of it kind of worked out for me because I think Sam kind of worked with me after that. Yeah. So that was awesome.
Yeah, because it was like you, Joe, then Sam and Jimmy kind of made that little 4.
And actually,
Nelson, Jimmy, and Joe.
Yeah, there's just Crystal and Nelson can join the game together. Actually, I don't think Joe wanted to work with me at all. I think the only reason he was trapped with working with me was because I saw him find the advantage. What do you think?
Like the idol?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I actually was not aware at first he found it. I think it was not until after the season I found out that Joe had the idol. I think like when Joe found it, and I was like, so kind of seeing how it all happened and how close you were to getting that idol, like.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Different from right there. Joe did not want to work with Kayla. No, sorry. You did want to work with Kayla.
Let's go for Sam. I am Sam.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Yeah, no. But yeah, we can talk about the Transformer idol situation once we get to it.
Yeah, I do find it funny because Joe said, "Ooh, I don't think Kayla saw me find the idol," and now it's getting revealed that you did see him find the idol.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was a lot of scrambling around, and it really made for a really good episode because we had so much film and just so much good conversations happening. But yeah, I don't know. Richie, you want to add anything?
I thought I was on mute actually until just 10 seconds ago. So I was like, oh shit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was really fun. I do kind of want to quickly bounce back to the Sam thing because I was actually going to say this before you guys were talking for a few minutes. I don't want to interrupt you guys. I do think it's very interesting we're finally getting a little bit more about Sam's because even though Sam's somewhat of a central player this season, just by the fact that Vivesse is just dominating, out of all the central players, Sam kind of seems like the least in a sense. So it is kind of interesting that we're finally getting to hear more of his game plan, what he's wanting to do, what he's looking to do, which is, it's good we're finally getting to hear more about it when we haven't really heard about him in comparison to Kayla, Jimmy, Nolan, Vince, even like Joe. I feel like we've heard more from up to this point. Whereas Sam, we're finally getting some solid content about his game. So I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of interesting talks between everyone this episode where it's kind of like the fallout from the Tony vote where they're all starting to question okay, what do I have to do now? What's about to happen? And
yeah,
I don't know. I do think it's kind of interesting that Joe kind of just randomly gets shade onto him by some people, which is just kind of I don't know. I just kind of felt I don't know.
Yeah,
I kind of thought
it's really interesting because they only put votes on Joe really because they thought Kayla found something, which she did, of course, which she found the safety without power, which is it's a pretty cool little adventure that Advantage went on. So that was the initial advantage on the Falemu tribe. That was in those rocks by the bathroom with that one tree.
Took a while to find that one.
Yeah, so each tribe had an idol and an advantage. On your tribe, you had the idol, of course, and then the advantage was hidden still in those rocks by the bathroom with that one tree. You know what I'm talking about? Where it was that one tree with the kind of circle of rocks, kind of.
Mm-hmm. And you hit from season 7 too? It was the same spot?
No.
No, I was there in season 7 in that side. I don't think we hit an advantage.
We thought about it, but we didn't use it.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, that advantage was there the whole game, and then we moved it at merge because no one found it.
Wow.
And then
exactly
we found it in that mulch pile by that tree, which was there the whole merge as well. And no one found that. So that thing went on an adventure. That's been there since the start of the game.
And remind me, did you guys hide the idol that Nick brought in that was fake?
No.
Did you hear about that?
So that was...
Yeah, we heard about that.
So we talked with production, of course, Evan and Christian, and you can't bring in anything from home to try to hide. You can only use the stuff that you find.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't bring in anything from inside to the game.
I thought Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, we told Nick. Yeah, we told Nick already that. Yeah, it's a smart idea, but yeah.
Okay, because every time I found something, I forgot who it was, but somebody was like, "It might not even be an idol if you found it," and I was like, "Well."
No, yeah, definitely.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt when I found my idol. I was like, I didn't see a paper. I'm like, oh shit, this could be fake.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd play it regardless. I mean, I don't know.
But let's talk.
Autism card, and I'd say, give me the paper. I declare autism on you. I declare autism prenuct on you.
I'm gonna play the I haven't talked in a while card, and I just like this.
You talk.
No, we should talk about what that safety without power exactly means, because we saw that advantage in Winners at War of the main U.S. Survivor show. Jeremy Collins was able to find that, and he was able to use it at Tribal before Jeff reads the votes. It's like it says, you are safe. You're allowed to leave your tribal area, your tribal council, and go back to your tribe, even though, for us, they're kind of really in the same area, so it wouldn't be leaving much, but you know what I mean. And it would have been interesting to see that played out, but as Kayla mentions, when she opens it up and discovers what it means, that would ultimately not help her game in a way, because that would be one less vote for her side of the cause, and you need as many votes as you can get at this point. So it was very interesting to see you find that and to see you hold on to it to hopefully use it later.
Yeah.
Which it was smart, because if you used it before, because you only use it before you vote. You can't use it after you vote. It's only before you actually vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
But if you use that, Joe was getting voted out right there. So it was a smart move by you to not use it. It just happens that, of course, we'll get into it later, but you get voted out that
right.
round.
What I do want to say is too that we've had this advantage in our Survivor Series on multiple points in the game. Also, Joe, I definitely 100% agree with this. Your voice is your power, and your voice in this game. Continuing on from that, safety without power. We have had it in a lot of seasons in our past. I know it was used in. I'm trying to remember every single season it was used. I do know it was in Blood versus Water, where Emily had it. She used it, I believe, around Final 7 or 8. I know it was in Legends. I want to say Emily may have had it again, but don't quote me on that because it's been a while since I watched Legends, like 3 years.
Summer Solstice.
Yeah, Summer Solstice. Corey and Ryan. I swear that was the funniest thing. Oh yeah, One World. Yeah, thank you, Devin. Cody used it in One World 1 in Whitewater, and I think it was very funny because you see Cody from the back as like his plan. I think his plan was to blindside Devin, and he's all like just jumping from the back. You see him from the hall. It was like it was. Which, speaking of past seasons, if you haven't watched the episode we're talking about or any of our past seasons, the fuck are you doing? Go watch them. Like, we have a lot of fun seasons we're playing in the future, a lot of fun seasons. They're going to take a lot of interesting look at our past, as obviously they will the returning player seasons. So definitely go watch our past seasons, and maybe you can answer the questions we have about which ones had Safety Without Power that I might be forgetting. I do think the most iconic use of it was Corey and Ryan in Summer Solstice.
What'd they do?
So Corey gave Ryan the advantage, but Ryan didn't know what it was because Ryan never watched Survivor, and Corey just gave him the thing wrapped in the beige cloth. So,
but did you have the instructions?
Yeah. It was on there, but Ryan didn't know what it was. He was just given the cloth and the paper. So he gave it to Christian, who was the host that season, and then Christian was like, what's this?" So they open it up and they read it out, and they're like, "Oh,
that wasn't it."
So Ryan was safe that round then, and it all worked out. Mm-hmm. But it was just kind of weird because it was just like kind of like a stencil.
It wasn't him like telling him it was him was the funniest part.
Yeah, because Corey had to say, because Corey was trying to play it off like it was his move, kind of, to kind of stay more under the radar. But Corey had to explain what it was to Ryan and to Christian to make sure that the advantage worked in, of course, the way he wanted to work into. So it kind of blew up in his face, because then people knew that it was his move and not like a more under the radar move from him. So like it was all blown up, but it was just kind of funny seeing it again. But yeah, let's go.
And I do want to say, I went over to grab. I thought I had the exact thing, but it wasn't it. It was the Super Idol for that, because I went to grab it because I wanted to look at it later, and I forgot it was in my pocket till I got home. I fell on my ass while we were filming it too, so thanks for the concern 2 years ago, everyone. Anyways, I thought I was Safety Without Power. It wasn't, but yeah, that was probably our best use of Safety Without Power in terms of entertainment, which is Corey trying to explain to Ryan what it was and how to use it without.
And when I was being explained the game to in like the 2 hours leading up to when I arrived to the camp, that was like the one thing that wasn't explained to me. So you literally get to see my critical thinking skills as one of you were explaining to me what it
Yeah,
is.
when Christian was explaining it to you.
What Christian was explaining to me. And so that's when I went like, oh crap, like if I want to make a power move and establish myself as not only a shield, but like a player, I have to use this to get Quentin out. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I clicked of like what it even was, because I was like, okay, an idol, it's not an idol. I could do this before or after the vote.
Yeah. Plus the paper was like soaking wet because of the rain, so like the ink
Right.
was like all faded. So like,
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, let's bounce off of the advantages of like that. Well, let's also do a shout out to the Pink Tribe for finding every single merge advantage kind of up to this point.
Yeah, I'll put the cover back up again.
that's why we're repping Pink, baby.
At this point, Pink has found all
Pays
the
to be
merge
pink, you know.
advantages and idols, which is pretty crazy to think about. Even though yellow was safe for how much rounds, and they didn't even think of searching for stuff like that. Like, but yeah,
They say was able to find their idol and their advantage, but then they kept winning. They didn't need to use nothing. There wasn't nothing else to go look for.
Yeah,
But
no
even
one
though,
found the
like,
double vote,
Christian
Sam
and
found the
Devin
idol.
said that there's still stuff out there, they just said, fuck it,
Yeah, when you're that confident and y'all got the numbers, yeah.
I guess so.
The boys were kind of petty when they found their idols, though, the Yellow Tribe, because I remember, who was it, Vincent and Jimmy, when they're still pretending to kick around the sand. They're like, we already know where the idol is. Why are we even pretending to look? And I'm like, drop some bombs then and tell people who has it. I don't know. Pull a Nick. Tell the entire tribe.
Honestly.
As well.
Christian Davis in the chat. What up?
Yeah, what up, Christian? I kind of acknowledged him already because
We're all smiles here.
I'm glad
Yeah, we're all
Christian finally
smiles.
learned how to read to drop a chat. That's awesome.
Damn.
Got him.
The beef is still going on even after the game.
We love the beef in the chat. Get to arguing right now. Thanks for being here.
All right, is there anything we want to talk about before we go into tribal council?
There was so much stuff this episode, and it is one of the best episodes we've had so far this season as well. I just want to highlight everything because there was so much stuff going on. Nelson, yes, I think we covered Nelson already.
I know we did. I just wanted to bring it back up again. I thought it was funny. And
Yeah. But I think we also see Yellow try to do another split vote again, but people were just saying yeah to it, even though like they were already made up their minds on how the votes were going to be split. But it was kind of funny seeing that, kind of like polarizing from like the first vote where they were like all of a sudden on the split vote to like now where like they're all like, do we want to do it again? So it's kind of funny seeing that like that total like shift in momentum from like Tribe Strong to like totally split up Tribe. So that was a really fun parallel right there. What else? Damn. We'll get to it.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we will. But
Yeah.
shoot.
Steib, carry on if you want to.
Yeah. I think it was very wise that Nolan was able to hold on to his advantage this long. And he could have used it in the past couple of important merged tribal councils. And he was able to pull off the social moves and make the moves without using that advantage. And as we see in this upcoming tribal, that extra vote counted more now than ever. So it was wise of him to hang on to that. It's definitely something I took notice of.
For sure.
Right. And I think
we do kind of see who was always on the bottom of the Babese tribe as well now. Like we do see what?
Who was it? I want to hear you say it.
I was saying we do see now who was always on the bottom and like kind of like the totem pole of it all. Because
What
like
would you consider the bottom?
Quentin.
Yeah. I said that like 5 episodes ago. Thank you for finally.
But it's good that he like also kind of knew as well because of course after the Richard
Right.
vote way back when, he always knew that he was on the bottom, so he always wanted to flip come merge.
Yeah,
So
it was more
really
finding the
depended
perfect
on when.
time.
Yeah.
That's because he was such a challenge piece, though, and I think he knew that.
Yeah. So from what the totem pole kind of is, it's Quentin, Vincent, and then we kind of jump up to Sam, and then you also have Nolan and Jimmy, kind of. That's kind of how I saw it as. But yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think this has kind of been. I mean, even like kind of going back to the Tony vote a little bit, like Quentin definitely was very well. I think Quentin was definitely very well aware of his position. He was on the bottom. He kind of definitely identified that and even like sought out to take out Tony. I did kind of say this 5 episodes ago, as Christian joked about in the chat. But yeah, no, like I definitely think there was a lot of great elements that Quentin definitely has to his game. And I definitely, again, I do kind of get you do it to find the right time to flip. A part of me, I mean, definitely, again, we do kind of see what we see in the game. So obviously, I think some things do get cut out. Some things aren't always able to be shown, as kind of just shown. Like some things don't always make it to air just because of time. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, kind of just from the way I saw Vivesi, even in the game at this point in time, I kind of saw it as Quentin was on the bottom, followed by Tony. So kind of like say Vivesi, it is all Vivesi at the end somehow. Is like everyone else's threat statuses and like Quentin's bonds with people he's trying to make enough. Could he get him out earlier? Who really knows? But I mean, I do definitely agree with that. Quentin, I think, definitely deserves credit for his gameplay, because I think a lot of his moves were definitely a little bit more subtle. And definitely coming from someone who, my first season, the God I Won Hunter, literally won very subtle game. Very subtle way. A lot of us didn't even realize the game he was playing till like weeks after he ended up winning, and we were kind of watching it play out live. So I don't know, calm versus chaos. Who really knows? Some seasons calm, some seasons chaos.
Yeah. No, like Kevin does a really good job here playing from the bottom and knowing that like that he did make a big move, but like how can he bounce back and make sure that his name's kind of not on the chopping block? We do see it, of course, at Tribal that he does get most of his way, but it is a good move because he is kind of playing from the bottom of his alliance and the bottom of his tribe. Because no one's been saying it this whole merge and that like that he's a goat. So yeah, Quentin does a good job of playing from the bottom and knowing when to step up and be like, let's do a blindside here. But yeah, he does give credit. I will give him credit for that.
Tony's Quentin's confessionals were so telling of, oh my gosh, that makes sense of why you're doing this. Because he just seems like, a quiet, fun guy. I thought he was a professional Frisbee player. Is he not? Yeah. So he's like a professional, I forgot what it's called, the Frisbee player. And so he had that going for him. We saw his gameplay in his confessionals, but not, at least I did on the field. But I think that he is a little bit underrated.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I'm saying here. I agree with all y'all. I think Quentin is very deserving of some praise, and he was able to maneuver his way from the bottom and help Nolan and Vincent work to get out Tony. And yeah, Quentin is absolutely deserving of praise. And yeah, like Aleks was alluding to, we quickly see in this tribal we're about to talk about, he is still somewhat on the bottom of the Vivesi. So yeah, it's wise to see him starting to make his own moves and build his own case.
Definitely, yeah. I definitely agree with all of that. So I don't think I really much to say because you guys kind of all said exactly what I was thinking of. So you guys actually left me speechless. A very rare occurrence.
Put that in the chat. One time only counter.
Yeah.
Mila Kunis in that 70s show. You get one. All right. Anything else we want to say before we get to Tribal Council now?
I don't remember who the conversation was with, but Quentin's portrayal in the game was that he was too loyal to yellow and that he just voted predictably. And that was what people said while we were in the game. Obviously, my opinion of him has changed since watching the past episodes, But that's what we thought of him. Essentially just Tony 2.0.
Yeah, makes sense. From within the game. Yeah. You can probably say to like most people as well. On that tribe as well, like Vinny maybe as well. But yeah.
Vincent is another one of those underrated players who also is starting to see that, he is a very entertaining character, and he's very self-aware. He's aware that he's one of the goofier characters on the cast this time, and we love the goofiness, and we love the presence he's bringing to the show. And it's nice to see him as well trying to build his own case to try and make it further in the game.
Yeah, it's also interesting because when numbers start to dwindle down, his name's not been thrown out there once yet at all this whole merge. So it's pretty interesting how like he's kind of navigated so well through this merge without having his name been thrown out there once. And it just kind of shows like how well insulated he is with people. Even on the opposite tribe with Kayla and Joe, like I don't even think you guys would even toss his name out there once yet. So he's just doing a really good job, kind of laying low and just kind of being like a little goofy guy out there.
Right, I kind of agree with a lot of that. Vince is definitely a massive character this season in a lot of ways, both strategically and entertainment-wise. And I mean, I guess the best way to think of Vince is that he definitely reminds me of some people we've had on previous seasons. I'm not going to say who, but Vince, I do think he's playing a good game. And as you were saying, Alex, Vince's name hasn't been going on at all. And whether or not people realize the potential that could hold. Yeah, I mean, because who really knows? If he gets to the end game, he could possibly use that to his advantage. Possibly. However, it doesn't guarantee, because obviously we have a lot of very smart players in the game with them who could very well notice this and say, hey, let's knock him the hell out. It's like I'd be shocked if at least someone didn't bring it up or try to start a campaign to get rid of him. Because again, Vince is playing a very good under the radar game the entire season up to this point. We've even seen little tidbits here and there talking about a lot of it. So yeah, I think we should talk about Tribal Council now.
Yep, I think we just go right there.
All right, so we get to the next Tribal Council. I do think there's a lot of very interesting things. I don't know if I'd say beforehand, partially, possibly, but I do think most of it comes from what happens after. Is there anything that you three want to talk about for this Tribal Council before the votes and all this?
Just the initial conversations. There was a lot of whispering again with Nolan, Quentin, and even Jimmy on that whole left side, basically. Sorry, not Quentin, Vinny. Nolan, Vinny, and Jimmy just whispering about votes and stuff like that. And I do find it interesting because Quentin sat on the far right by Joe and Kayla. I don't know why, and that's kind of with seating wise at Tribal. It is a huge thing to like be seated with somebody where you're not really where like with me, like I always try to sit with people that I'm not aligned to, so I can try to eavesdrop and hear what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like not a lot of people do that in our game. Where like seating at Tribal is really like a huge telling point, and like Quentin's sitting on that far right side, totally away from the all conversation that's going on that left side, really made it a big impact, and it's shown in the vote as well because like there's a lot of whispering on that left side. I just found that interesting because he always was sitting with the yellow tribe, but this vote he was sitting by Kayla and Joe. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a very good observation, Alex. Yes, well said. There's a lot of signs in the game. They might not be too obvious, but you certainly got to keep your eyes peeled and trying to find a hidden meaning in the actions of the people you're playing with, and just trying to see if you can read them and if you can work with them, or if they're going to be a pain for your game and your longevity, and if you want to take them out. So it was a very interesting Tribal. I think we saw in the voting process, I think we saw Sam hand over something to Jimmy. We believe that was his hidden idol that he found from original Vevese. and stuffed in the Pringles can, which I think is a fun little surprise, I suppose. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, considering he could potentially be voted out, but he also didn't want to necessarily waste the idol either. So it was interesting to see that.
Yeah. Totally. Richie, you want to add anything?
No, I was about to say something. I thought Kayla was about to speak. She looked like she was getting revved up to say something.
Yeah, where Zerdali and I are commenting on like the use of props. I think props are super fun every time. I literally don't. I'm not on the same wavelength, Christian. I don't even know what that means. So basically, at this point, I don't think I was sitting next to Joe yet, so it's not the thing that I wanted to comment on. But yeah, I just think that it's interesting, Aleks, that you bring up the visual already of Quentin being on the outs sitting next to us. Because if you're sitting next to us, that's like not a good sign.
Yeah. Because usually, well, when I play, I like to sit by one ally and like one person who is totally on the opposite side of the tribe.
I love that.
Just so I can eavesdrop and see what votes are going where, and like I can also like tell my well, yeah, I knew where the votes were going on that on that vote easily.
I did not want to vote for you. Okay, sorry. We'll argue later.
But yeah, so it is really it's a very interesting tell where Quentin was sitting on that tribal, because it's like what's going on there. It might have just been like last minute. Oh, there's a spot there, but like usually.
There's a lot of strat that goes on to sitting at the bench. Either
it really does. It really takes
you pull a looking back and look between people's shoulders to see who's looking at who's making eye contact, who looks nervous, who looks confident, who has that crazy smirk on their face. Yeah, Jamil and I sat by each other every single time, but we were always looking at eyes of other people to see what was the last minute. And then sometimes you'll have Jimmy whispering false information in your ear, and you can sometimes use that if you're feeling confident enough in that partnership.
Did you say that Father Jimmy lied?
No, I would never say that, actually. I think that he was I trust Jimmy with all my heart.
King
Protege. How do you say it? Protege.
The Bibble.
Yeah, I do like Jimmy's comment here, because he sits in the middle of every single tribal, and it's a really good way to be like in the middle of every conversation going on there as well, because there's a lot of whispering going on, and Jimmy doing that kind of really shows that like.
And Jimmy had, I'm sorry to cut you off. Jimmy had overlapping alliances, and similarly to what Sam was thinking of whose basket he put his ping pong ball on was really telling of who he was working with. Jimmy's also strategic, and I'm going to sit in the middle of the bench, so that way every alliance member who I have just knows that's what I automatically do, and they're not taking it personally of like, oh, maybe he's working with somebody else. Because even though he was, it's just the constant, I'm always going to sit in the middle of the bench, and that's my thing. And so then everybody's like, Sam's like, oh, is he working with somebody else? And, you know, Tony's not thinking that, or any of us aren't thinking that. So you're right. It's just completely the visual of where you're sitting can just really expose your game, or like make
with like alliances as well. Like you can really tell where alliances kind of stand with how you're seated at tribal as well, which I've been picking up that as well while watching this a lot of these seasons as well. Like this past season as well, I know where people sat. Like people sat at the same spot every time with the same person. We're seeing that as well this season as well, with the same kind of theme going on as well. So it's pretty cool to see how stuff all fluctuates with that, and it's pretty interesting because, you know, sure, it's a fast-paced season as well, so of course you do want to sit with allies, but I've not seen somebody yet like break that pattern yet. So it's I agree with y'all. It's a very important aspect of the game, and I'll be honest, it's not really something that I necessarily attributed to my game when I was playing this game. I was often typically sitting there just not really looking to my left or right, being pretty ignoring of who was talking to who, because typically I would be sitting next to an alliance mate and plans would already be made up, or I would already know that my fate was sealed, one of those options. And it's very interesting to see how these people get together like this, because at the end of
the day, the tribal council experience can really be like, it can be compared to a poker game, because you're really trying to keep it cool, keep it calm, and go in with the cards that you have, and you're really just trying to make it one more round, and you're hoping that maybe you could bluff somebody into thinking you're good, or bluff somebody into getting a vote, but you sure don't want to be the one who craps out.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything we really want to talk about before we get to the votes and what happens?
No, I think we're ready to go.
Before we get to that, I do want to say I just saw this comment and it reminded me of South Park where Cartman's like singing it. That is all. So obviously the votes pretty crazy. It becomes a 4-4 tie for Quentin and Joe, with Nolan using his extra vote. And what happened was that I will respond to this in a minute, Christian, I promise. Nolan is able to use his extra vote on a revote, which I didn't know was a thing you were allowed to do until this season, so that's very interesting. And because of that, it becomes a 3-3 tie again, and no one flips their vote, so it's automatically deadlocked. And because of that, it goes to rocks. So by the Survivor rules, whoever wins individual immunity and or has an idol played on themselves by any means, the rules are that if you're immune, idol, advantage, individual immunity, whatever, you're safe. If you are in the tie, you are safe, i.e. meaning that now Jimmy, Quentin, and Joe are all safe. And this means that Sam, Kayla, Vince, and Nolan are the only 4 that can be drawing rocks. So it goes to a rock draw. Kayla unfortunately draws the odd rock out and becomes the 10th person voted out of the game, 4th member of the jury, 10th, 11th, whatever it was. I can't count anymore. So yeah, Kayla gets taken out here by a rock draw. A lot of shade. But yeah, Kayla, obviously you were eliminated. There's not really much of a drum roll we can do because it was kind of very abrupt.
Yeah, it was abrupt.
Yeah, she really ruined the surprise. But it was more funny that she revealed it right there and then, because
Devin, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It was more funnier because like you just somehow managed to pull the blue ball, and the first thing you do is just reveal it.
Guys.
Yeah.
A lot more funnier than.
I did not know what the rocks was. Everybody kept on talking, we're going to go to rocks. I'm like, where's the rocks? Where are we going? And so I was so confused. And they're like, all you got to do is pull a ball. And so I'm like, word. I'm like,
that was not what they said.
I was, listen, at this point, I was on adrenaline the entire day. And I was like, okay, this is like the last thing. I'm like, I'm going to orchestrate this with my safety, with my advantage. And so when I pull it and you know, Christian kicked me out because of the ball that he gave me. No, it's because of the ball that I took. I looked at it and Devin was so visibly upset, and I was like, crap, like I ruined Devin's game. Like Devin loves Survivor and I just ruined the entire game. And like the guilt that I had as soon as I pulled the ball was not because I got out. I'm like, I just ruined the entire game. And like I didn't even actually understand how I ruined it. I just was like, whatever I did was just so bad. And I thought I was like, oh my gosh, I was kicked out because of that. And so during my exit confession, where I think I'm talking to Ben about it, Ben was like, no, that's not why. That just ruined the reveal. I was so relieved that I didn't ruin the game. And like, it just meant that I was out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of a flex to say that I never got voted out that entire game. And it just got out on probability. So like that was fun, but that was my commentary on it. Quentin didn't even get out from what I intended. Also wild that Nolan's extra vote could be used from that tiebreaker. Again, I don't know too much about politics and strategy of Survivor and the advantages. I just think it's crazy, and like I wasn't able to strategize after that because of the double vote he was able to use from the half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into more stuff for you, Kayla, we do have some questions for you, Kayla, from just us three.
Okay.
Hold up. Let's go highlight Joe's comment because he wanted to talk about the Kayla idol swap that they did.
Yeah. So
yeah, we'll talk about that. Then we'll get to the questions.
So basically, before Rocks happened, Joe had his idol that I saw him get, and that we were still working together at this point. He gave it to me. He said, "Kayla, if you get out, give it back to me before you get out, and then I'll still use it playable in the game. If I get out from Rocks, then I want you to have it." And so I was like, oh my gosh, Joe, like keep it either way. And it was a big dramatic, like had we been mic'd, it would have been like the most dramatic thing of the episode, I swear. It was a big dramatic, like, no, I want you to have it, or like you deserve it, or like, is that even allowed? And we'll be like, they don't have to know. Like you'll just use it either way. So if you like say you found it or something, because you're right, Joe's idol went under the radar. So it was at some point in my pocket because I had a hella pockets. In my the first half of the game, I was wearing leggings. Big mistake. I had to put idols in my shirt. If you're going to the game next round, always wear pockets, like a bunch of zippers. That's what I did for the second half once everything got wet. Side note: there was also a lot of gum on the jurors bench. So next time for feedback, make sure there's no gum there and don't let me sit on it next time. But I put the idol in my pocket and it traded between Joe and I like once or twice before I actually got it unlocked. So Joe, big shout out. That was awesome that we did that. I love that moment. It was just such an intense moment. And I'm reading what Devin said. I just want to make sure. Oh my gosh, Devin, I just felt so bad. And like Zerdali looked at me and she was like, "You didn't." She's like, "I explained it to you. Unless you give it to me in 3 other languages, and I'm not going to retain it." Like, I'm so anxious right now. But again.
For me, it made it a lot more funnier because he pulled the wrong ball and then instantly got out. It would have been kind of not as funny.
That was a 1 in 5 shot of panning out. Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been as funny if you just pulled him one of the safe ones. But the fact that she pulled the one that you got voted out on, it was just a lot more funnier.
And I was the first person to pull one. Like I just ruined the complete 5-minute event that this was going to be. So I love that I did.
I thought that was more funnier because it got straight to the straight to the point. Like, oh, you're out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was the most. Well, right, and this was like I believe the 5th rock draw we've had because we had one all the way back in our first season we did in Whitewater. We had one in Battle Royale, fans versus favorites. I believe the last one we did was One World 2, where I ended with Caitlin going out in a 2-person rock draw. And then now you kind of joined that club of people who got rocked out. So, I mean, I think that is kind of an interesting feat, regardless of however you got there to it, though.
Yeah. Cool. All that being said, I think we go to questions now.
More questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we kind of... So
or
we actually got...
Should we just do player of the episode first and then go to questions?
Yeah, we can do that. I've kind of had to pull up for 5 minutes, but we can definitely do that first. All right, so player of the episode. Aleks, I'm going to let you take this one first since you were very excited to get to this one first. You seem to be very excited to get to it.
Mine's pretty straightforward. It is Nolan. Using that extra vote to, try to get a big move, but ultimately not really making the big move. But it was still a good time to use it, of course. It was, if it worked out, how it worked out. But it was still a good move on his part to try to make a big move. But yeah, I'll give it to Nolan,
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and second Aleks. I think Nolan is also going to be my player of episode 8. for similar reasons. Being able to work on the fly, and with that double tribal twist, he was able to get a big ally of Jimmy's out with Tony, and with Tony now out of the game, Nolan was trying to build that resume up and try and eliminate the big threats. And Jimmy is certainly an honorable mention, considering he won a challenge that was very critical for his safety in the game. But yeah, like you said, Nolan, he was able to hold on to that extra vote for just a little bit longer, and he was able to pay it off, and he was able to get 2 extra votes, really. So I think it's absolutely fair for Nolan to be player of the episode.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to bounce off of you guys with that. Nolan, exact same reasons. If it wasn't for the fact that his extra vote kind of basically just saved him and his little group, whether that's his group going forward or whether that group basically dies the next episode or two, who really knows? But it definitely at least kept them in I don't want to say the majority, but it technically kept them on the right side of the votes in a sense. I don't know. I mean, it definitely was the play of the episode. So I definitely am giving it to Nolan. Kayla, Z, what do you all think?
I'll definitely let Zardali choose hers. Nelson, Nolan, is doing great. I think he's the funnest gameplay to watch. Oh my gosh. He's literally such a character. And like, I don't know if he told you guys or if it's made the episode, don't remember. But he was basically like, guys, I'm hungover, like the entire episode, and like really played himself off as like, a college frat guy character, but he's like running the pot. He's finding some really good advantages. Just for my own gameplay for honorary player, I got to say Joe, just because Joe is such an underdog, and I have a lot to learn from him because he integrated to the yellow really smoothly. Whereas you can see I get a little bit more frantic and instead turn to scrappy gameplay, which I instead should have just been shooting the shit and strategizing with the guys a little bit more. So definitely Joe, I applaud him for not only doing the idle shift, which I thought was really intense and made for a great moment, but he's also strategizing with VVC in a really integrated and like powerful kind of way. And he was stirring the pot a little bit, getting some flips going on.
Cool.
Okay, so obviously I didn't know anything that was happening. So I would have to say it was Kayla, just because I was the only person I knew. And also she was cracking me up the whole time. So that's what I have to say, because I was lost the entire game. I was a live audience member.
So who's your player of the episode?
It would have to be you, 100%.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know anyone else. Like, at that point, yeah.
Makes sense.
It's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right.
All right, so I think we should go to because we have a couple questions before we open it up to the live viewer questions. I've had this pull up for like 10 minutes now. My phone battery's not good, so I've been trying to get to this. We got a couple of questions actually DM'd to us today that I personally been really excited to ask Kayla. So I'll ask Kayla a couple of these questions first, and then I'll pass on to Aleks and Steib for your guys' questions to Kayla.
Well, just say one of them, because then I'll bounce off you then.
All right. Trying to think of the one I want to ask. So with some of these episodes, Kayla, that came out from early on in the game, the pre-merge, there was a lot of talk about you and Dan as a duo. However, right before the merge, you took Dan out. I know some people, there was some consideration on if Dan was being quote unquote wishy-washy, on if people thought he was going to betray him. At least that's how the question was phrased to us. So the question is, after watching the episodes, would you still describe Dan as wishy-washy?
I don't think so. I'm going to expose a little bit of Dan's game. So Dan came in knowing Julie, and I critiqued him a little bit because I was like, you didn't use Julie at all. I'm like, I barely knew you knew Julie. I had such a binoculars on you and her, and like both of you I really wanted to work pretty close with. And the fact that I didn't see you guys utilizing that relationship at all, it made me think like, all right, what's going on here, babes? So with Dan, I wanted to work with him a little bit more closely. You could see that Jamil, who was a little bit higher on the hierarchy of who I had my alliance with, was like, I don't want him there. And later learned that was like to isolate me from Dan. So I think that Dan would have been really valuable to me. I would have kept him I did, however, wish that he played a little bit better in challenges, and then he would have been like, all right, for sure, we're keeping him because he's great at challenges and loyal. So wishy-washy, I don't think he would have been. I think that he would have been less wishy-washy than Joe or Jake in comparison.
Okay. I got a question as well. So that first merge vote, did you ever consider using your idol on one of your other members of Pink on the vote that Jake went home on, that first tribal?
On Jake, never really on Jake. Although I had an alliance with Jake as I did with like the rest of the Pinks. I don't think that I ever saw him in final game. Would I ever use it on Joe? I think I pulled Joe and Jamil aside when after post merge, and I was like, hey, I have the idol. I'm never going to use it on you. Please never expect that. Like I would always use it on me. That's not to say that I wouldn't. Had a couple things happened, had Jimmy pulled me in and I felt like I had a strong alliance with yellows and I felt much more safer and that was openly communicated to me, I would have absolutely used it on Jamil 100%, Joe maybe, if you like pledged allegiance to me. Okay. But since my alliance with the yellows was more like done without me seeing and like it was just with the intention that I'd be a shield, I was never going to use it on anybody but myself.
All right. Makes sense. Steib.
I know Richie has a few questions. I don't know if he wants to get back to those or if I should ask a question of my own.
You do you. Yeah, Alex's question was actually that one from that list anyway. So, you know, you do you.
Right.
Whatever you want. Okay. We ask all them regardless, so, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. I think I'll go ahead and ask my own question then. When that final tribal came down, Kayla, as you mentioned, you were talking with Joe about his idol that he had initially found and swapping it back and forth between the two of you. And I was curious to know if you were considering potentially swapping the safety without power advantage that you had potentially to somebody like Joe in the event that you were going out of the game. I was just wondering if you were thinking about maybe making that move.
I never considered that only because I think there was a print on the idol that said I could only use it up till a certain round.
Yeah, fair enough. I forget what round that was.
Otherwise, yeah, I was thinking like now or never. Like I got to do this now or never. So unless I make up something to tell you right now, I wasn't thinking that for him because I didn't.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
This was a question specifically for me to ask. The person who DM'd us specifically asked me to ask, how is Zerdali doing? Please make sure Richie reads his question and properly pronounces her name.
I think that's Jimmy. I think Jimmy asked that.
We're not allowed to say.
Oh, okay. I could speculate.
Are we not?
I'm like, I know who asked that
because we want Kayla to answer unbiasedly and to, you know, not have an answer catered.
Oh, can we reveal after then?
I want to know.
Yeah, we'll reveal 101 after.
After, yeah.
I have to answer this question now?
Well, I'm not going to say how Zerdali's doing.
Oh, I thought you were going to.
Zerdali's doing great.
I'm doing great.
That was specifically said to us, like, I have no control over these questions. I will
Guys,
show you.
Please bully Zerdali into applying.
I don't know about that.
You have my full permission as her best friend to bully her, find her house, find her.
Don't do that.
Send her a letter, a strongly worded letter.
Noted.
See, I'm going to send you the application on January 1st when they open up. I'm going to send you the application and be like, girl, go apply.
I'll pay her application fee.
Oh, shit.
I'll send a pigeon.
I'm not saying no, but get more girls on, and then that's a definite. Okay.
Yeah.
I promise.
For everyone watching and your mom and your aunts,
correct.
The rule we had with Devin is that Zerdali will 100% apply if it's a majority women's season and there's 3 men.
Correct.
She will be the majority of the women.
Okay, a little balance. Okay.
It'll be in it. I could maybe convince something else. Just saying.
What if it was like an all women's season? Would you ever do that?
Oh, I already feel so bad. But I would do it just because I wanna. Yeah, I would do it.
That would be fun. We would love that.
I want to be on that season too.
I've been trying to pitch them in all
that's it.
women's and then all guy season for years. Like 2 seasons for a fun theme. So
We get a lot of guy seasons anyways. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be fun at all.
Well, I mean, not
all
with like
women's
diverse
season.
personalities. I mean, I shouldn't say diverse personalities, but like most of them have been like the same people over and
You have
over.
to
But we
predict
can
that.
get into that some other
No,
time.
because they're
101.
No. I'm like, what do you mean by that?
All right. We do have one other
I'll
question
say the
on
next
here,
question
Alex. Do you
anyways.
wanna?
Yeah, I'll tackle it. In hindsight, do you regret letting Jamil make the decision to vote Dan out over Jake at that
Yes.
final 4 vote? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. And I think it was like the next round, Jake is selling information. And I'm like, Jamil. And I again, Jamil crapped on me last podcast. I saw that. So I get to crap on him now. How did that work out for you, babes? How did that work out for you? Because I literally was my first Survivor I ever played. And I had eyes big enough to know that wasn't going to work.
Mom and Dad
And
are
I
fighting.
told
Do we
you,
get
you
2
didn't listen.
Christmases?
Sorry, what'd you say, Richie?
I said, Mom and Dad are fighting. Do we get 2 Christmases?
Yeah. So
And then there's also a second part to it, and he
Sorry,
said,
horrible.
I want
Sorry.
to know if you feel that letting Jamil make that decision for his own game instead of standing your ground to keep Dan and over Jake was good for your game, which you just replied no. So
no, I shouldn't have. And again, I think that Jamil and I made for a great duo. Also, I would like to defend something that Jamil said in the last podcast because
Okay.
can I do that? Did I answer your question fully, Alex? Or
oh yeah, you're good. Yep.
okay. So when the post merge is happening, and I'm like, Jamil, we have to vote against a pig. I'm like, we're gonna have to do that sooner or later. Like, we have to do that. Jamil was like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Kayla, get your head back in the game. That was so dumb. No, I needed to show Yellow that even though we present as our own entity, and I was taking it maybe a little bit too far of being so loyal to Pink, of like, go Pink, like, oh my gosh, we're girly pop. I did mean that, but I also didn't want to show us as such a separate entity that Yellow was like, okay, so they're foreign, they're other group, we have to vote them out. So that's why I was telling Jamil, pulling him aside, trying to explain to him frantically, because I'm apparently out of breath in every single, one-on-one conversation I do. I was like, Jamil, we need to vote out a Pink, and we have to show, we have to show them that we are our own people, we are our own strong players. We didn't get here because we loved Pink so much, because we did have to vote off every single one back to back to back to back to back. We are our own players, and Joe and Jake did a great job of showing them as their own entities of like, yeah, Kayla's over there. We both got each other this far, but like ultimately, screw them. I'm going to work with Yellows. And I told Jamil, we're not presenting like that, like they are. We have to vote off a Pink. Otherwise, we're going to be seen as that. So I don't think Jamil had his listening ears on when I was talking about that, because he was like, you're so dumb for thinking that. So honestly, I could have kept Dan, but we'll see.
All right.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions that we all have for Kayla before we turn it over to the viewers?
I have nothing.
Nope, I think we got them all.
I would go with
All
Devin's
right.
question first then.
Yeah,
Here.
I was about to.
Awesome.
Devin asks, Kayla, are you glad you gave this thing a shot even with the lack of females this season?
Yeah, Devin, you did a great job of prepping me and telling me that there was going to be none to a couple. I loved it. I really wanted to play up my own femininity and like bring some of that to the game. So I'm glad that I did. And like, I used it definitely for my pleas and tribals a bunch, but I pulled out the woman card, but it's okay. I did what I did with that. I got this far.
Yeah.
But I had a blast, Devin. Thank you for letting me in. And if you're a girl, you should definitely apply at Zerdalia Jones. I think you'll have a blast.
All right. Jamil asks, Kayla, was our final 2 alliance real?
No, I was honestly going to use you as a shield because you yapped so much, Jamil. I was thinking like I was going to use you as much as I could. And honestly, I hope that in like all the little Discord survivors that you play, I'm going to whisper in the ear of every single person you have an alliance member with and just like tell them to vote you out.
Such an asshole.
Anyway, I hope your wife loved you.
Christian claps back with, Jamil, you expect an honest answer with potential returnee seasons. And Jamil says, expect the unexpected, and it looks like they're just fighting each other in the comments right now, so that's funny. Yeah, Joe also asked a question a while ago. I'm trying to find it.
I got right here. Hold up, let me just get in chat.
Yeah, I know I had it somewhere. Joe did ask a question, Joe.
There it
I
is.
saw your comment.
Guys, be real. Do you
no.
think that Jimmy was working with me? I don't know.
I think he was willing to work with you. It's just there was really not a good time, really, I feel like, with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe's question
I never
was,
doubted it. Jimmy was totally working with her the entire time.
I literally don't know.
There we go.
Joe's question was, I think me handing you my idol during the revo was when you regained your trust in me. Had you had more confidence, would you have worked with me to play both advantages to keep us safe?
So, Joe, I didn't know if you pledged allegiance to me until I saw you find the idol. And I'm like, oh, well, he's kind of stuck with me now. Had I had more confidence, would you have worked with me to play both advantages to keep us safe? Yeah, I think that was part of my post plan. Like, had I not gotten taken out on rocks, which I kind of didn't anticipate, it was really to work closely with you and to take that really far. I think that I needed somebody that was more locked in than like Jimmy was. So like I really wanted to work with you. And looking back, I don't know how real this was. I kind of really wanted to work with Sam. So I would have tried bridging that.
Cool.
All right.
Interesting.
Jamil asks, Kayla, do you pull yourself out of the trenches by putting others down? Oh, I did not.
Only you. I think that like my feet are small enough to stand on your shoulders, Jamil.
There we go.
Jimmy says, I was going to the end with Joe and Kayla if she didn't go out on rocks.
I never doubted you. I knew it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
Good
there's a funny
answers.
question about special
Oh
cupcakes.
my God. So there is this man named Paul, and he baked cupcakes with banana, cream cheese, and chocolate chips. Funny story, I still haven't gotten the cupcake tin back. I need to get them. But I'm so glad you love them, Devin. I wanted to save one exactly for you and for everybody else from Survivor, except for Christian.
Fair.
Announcement for Second Chance, Devin just put out there a minute or two ago. Thursday,
Ew.
October 2nd should be the live reveal of our next season's cast, Second Chance. So hopefully, maybe we'll all find a way to get us a live stream for a reaction after the cast reveal. That'd be kind of fun.
Guys, the fan strat was so that people saw me as it was so hot that I'm like, if people see me as useful and keeping them cool, they'll want me to stay in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it worked.
We love the fan strat.
It was
I think it was iconic. Girl.
it was really fun seeing you just fanning people.
All right. So next question was from Jamil. Kayla, did Jimmy drive you to the game or did drive you insane as well?
That's a good question. So if you ask her Dolly, she'll say something different. But I think the entire game, I was like, is Jimmy for me or against me? And like that was just a second brain cell that I had to waste using that. It also gave me a peace of mind. So like PEMDAS, they're canceling each other out. Which one, like, is he making me feel safe or not safe? But I think that it kind of did drive me insane. But there were a few moments where I think he kind of knew I had the idol. I would have been safe regardless. I actually don't know. I think it did drive me insane a little bit, but it did give me peace of mind also. And since it was my first game, my first Survivor, I think I needed something like that to be like, even if it's a false security of like, okay, I can sleep tonight. So it was both, Jamil. And you got the run end of that for sure.
Nice.
I'm
Nothing there.
trying to find the next question. Here we go. Christian says, real question. Do you guys feel flattered when someone says they wanted to go to the end with you? Usually you go to the people you think you can beat.
Okay,
That's a
so
good question.
I know that I didn't seem competitive in immunity challenges. So it's for people's best interest to want to go to the end with me because I can't beat them in a challenge unless it's like tying knots or something.
Yeah, right.
So I know. So there's that. Secondly, I think I had asked a lot of the cast, do you think you had an alliance with me? Or like, did you think we were in good standing? Everybody said yes. Every single person was like, I think we were good. So I think that had I gone to the end with somebody, I'm a good shield and like I'm a good person to go to the end with in their mind. I think I'm gonna flatter myself and have a big ego and be like, I think that the jury would vote for me over you. So it depends. Because if I can get past the immunity challenges, by the grace of God, then maybe I would get the vote of the jury. So it's up to them to take that gamble.
Correct.
All right. Next question we have from Devin. Kayla, what was the most difficult thing for you in the game that you had to learn so quickly in such a fast-paced game?
Post-merge, I'm frantic. Jamil made fun of me. He's like, Kayla, you look like you're on something. I had to learn composure, and you can really see me in the episodes progress. My personality is day and night of going frantic, aura farming, down in the dumps. And so I had to learn, and I think in the future, if I ever do an LRG again, I'm going to have to learn to stay composed and have consistent personality, because I think that people think that they might be able to discard me if I'm like mentally checked out. I'm thinking with a blank face on. I'm thinking with like, a rusty bitch face or something. So definitely mental composure, because that will impact your gameplay. And you saw it in the bags challenge. You would never have guessed I'm from the Midwest at that point. Like, what? So yeah, composure and security, knowing who your allies are. And also, I just wanted to say, because it seems like an opportunity to say it, asking people what their comments mean. I think that when Jules had said to me, Kayla, people think you have the idol, I saw that as confrontation of, you think I'm a target because I have the idol. I have to vote you out. I think it was more of a more neutral of like, I've heard this from 3 other people. We think that you have the idol. I didn't need to gun for Jules after she told me that. It was kind of a more neutral thing. And like, I kind of, aimed for one of the only girls that I think we could have been valuable to each other. So I'm sorry, Jules. I think I pulled a Nick, because Nick also gunned for me for no reason. I gunned for Jules for no reason.
All right. Joe, I think we can all address this one. Can we talk about that moment where Kayla was like, let's get out Sam to Sam, and he was like, I'm Sam?
Guys, what the heck?
Nelson?
I was spamming buttons. I was pressing buttons, and I don't know. Like, wait, when you're trying to like defeat a video game, you're like, I have no understanding of how to do this. And then you're pressing all the buttons you can, you're mashing buttons to try and finish the level. That's literally what happened. I was like, I need to talk to Sam. I have no information that could be useful to Sam. I'm going to go to that man, because I didn't know his name at the time, and I'm going to be like, this is who I heard that they're getting out. He's like, that's me. And I'm like, actually, Nelson, the other guy. And he was like, word, let's work with each other. And I'm like, word, let's work with each other. And then we can find idols together, maybe. And that's what we did.
Jamil asks, Kayla, since this is Calm versus Chaos, who did you like the most and who did you hate the most? So obviously, without spoiling anything that comes up that could possibly influence this answer, but...
Oh my God, who did I like and who did I hate the most? Jamil, why do you have like the most like controversial questions? Jadal's gonna have to help me out here. I hated you for making me kick out Dan. I could have had so many minions, bro. Pink minions everywhere. And Dan could have been one of the more loyal ones. Correct. And you had to pick the not loyal one. So I do hate you for that. Who did I like the most? I liked Tony. It's funny because when I was like a really big impactful voice to Pink, I was buttering up Tony. I was socially buttering him up. I'm like, I like your freckles. I think you're really fun. I think you're really peaceful. And I was buttering him up to Pink. I'm like, guys, we're going to all collectively go confront Tony. He's going to join us. And they're like, yeah, he seems like a really good choice. We go up to Tony. You know how that went. Very diplomatically went, I'm going to say and politely decline. So I hated him for that. But he was who I would have told you that I would have liked before. And it's funny because looking back at the confessionals, had I approached anybody else, they would have double agented, I feel like. So like, I don't know how I made the biggest mistake of the Pinks by choosing Tony to approach. That was on me. Do you think that I should like or hate anybody?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that those are the two people. I didn't hate anybody or particularly like anybody. I liked everybody who worked with me. Those were my favorite people in the game. Just the ones who wanted to give me a shot. I did feel a little bit isolated post-merge because nobody approached me. Even my own alliance members kind of didn't approach me, and that's why you kind of see me pressing the buttons. But yeah, that's my answer.
All right.
I think we should do one last question because we're really running.
Actually, yeah.
Going on 10 p.m.
Yeah.
I
I think we hit
really
Devin's
good
last
questions, I
question
hear.
because it's really a good.
Yeah, no, we've had a fantastic episode. Thanks to everybody that's been tuning in and out or who's been watching the whole time. This has been so much fun, and we're looking forward to the next episode. I think that's that's on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a few minutes, actually, because I want to answer
that's gonna be fun.
Last question, then we'll get to what's coming up next for the rest of the season. So, Devin's question, last question we're going to close out on. Last question for me. Thoughts on watching back when Julie was saying all about you at Pink, LOL. Thank you again for playing. My vote for fan favorite when the polls open. I thought that was more of a question. But yeah, let's actually, is there anything you do have a response for Julie for that?
First of all, Devin, thanks for casting me and for making me feel comfy and for letting me bring Zerdali.
Thanks.
That was crucial. I wouldn't have come unless Zerdali came. So thanks for pulling one for the girls and letting me come. So Julie, I really wanted to work with her. That's my hot girl, Jules. I thought she was working really closely with Nick. And
I agree. I thought that.
And like, I was so confused. I was like, all right, so if they're the dichotomy, they're the opposition of me and Jamil, then like obviously they gotta go. So Nick was really gunning for me, and because he was so much in Jules' ear of Kayla's a strong player, she has the idol. Kayla's a strong player, she has the idol. That just rubbed off on Julie and was reflective of Julie of like, okay, so she thinks I'm strong. I have the idol. She wants me out. Jules has got to go. When poor Nick was actually kind of the reason behind that, I wish I kept her. I think that we would have been awesome together. She has a much more in-depth knowledge of everything Survivor than I do. I was understanding things on the fly, but I think that Jules could have been a really great asset for me and me for her to have the girls on each other. But now it reflects back on me, and it looks like I just got out the girls back to back when really it was strategically gameplay that I was like, Jules is gunning for me, but it was just the mouthpiece of Nick saying that I needed to go because I was an idol holder.
All right. So I think it's a good way to leave the questions off on for this episode. So on what's coming up next. So the final 2 episodes of the season are coming up. The penultimate episode, episode 9, will be coming on Thursday, September 18th at 6 p.m., followed by a live breakdown where we break down everything that goes on before the finale, followed by the finale itself on Tuesday, September 23rd at 6 p.m., followed by a live breakdown later that day. And we do have a sneak peek for the penultimate episodes, if I can find it. See, 1-sentence sneak peek for episode 9 that says, what color card are you going to have to show to get yourself into a position to win it all? All I was given for it. All right. So with that in mind, I think this was a really great thing. Kayla, is there any other closing thoughts you have before we close it out?
K Cash Money signing out.
Amazing.
Dad too.
Kayla, Z, thank you both for joining us tonight. It was great to have you both on. Real fun time with both of you guys. Aleks, Steib, as always, thank you guys for joining me. As always, I've been your co-host, Richie. I've been here with my co-host.
I'm Aleks.
Oh, I'm Aleks Steib. Thanks for watching.
I've been joined by my guests as well tonight.
Hello.
There you go.
All right. Cool.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe to the channel. And make sure to keep an eye out for potential fan voting opening soon. We'll hopefully have a little bit more information on that for Thursday. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Peace.
See you Thursday.